Hello, my friends, and welcome to this video. In this video, my name is Ken. I work professionally in the music industry as an educator, and today I would like to talk about professional development for musicians and creative people generally. Okay, so this is one of those things that I would have rejected earlier on in my life as a kind of a creative person. But as I get older, I realize that I do need some way to kind of structure my thinking to get projects off the ground, to start, to track them, to make sure you're not going down rabbit holes, and to bring a project to completion. And it can be difficult if you're just trying to get better and better and better and you have no target. And we would like to use this as a target. So, like I said, I used to kind of reject this kind of thinking because it comes more from a business world. And I would have thought, well, I'm a passionate person, a creative person, a romantic person. But then I had to learn how to do this to teach it. And then once I was teaching it, I started actually just employing it in my own personal life, and I found it very, very useful. So this is what I want to talk about today. So what is it? Well, continuous professional development just means what it means. It's continuously trying to develop your professional skill set. And so we can see that there are four stages in it. And the first stage is reflect and identify learning needs. The second stage is to plan and prioritize. The third stage is to carry out the plan, to actually do the plan, what you plan to do. And then the fourth stage is to evaluate. So that's the professional development cycle. There's four stages, okay? And it's in a cycle because you keep on doing it. And we're just going to have a little look about how we could relate this to music, for example, or any creative activity. So the first learning outcome is that we need to identify the employment opportunities, see what kind of jobs are out there, what's available, what is possible. And we could have a link. And then we would explore the progression routes. How do people get into these jobs? Is there special education you need? Is there internships? Can you join community groups? Can you just set it up yourself? How do you go about it? And try and find some evidence of people. So as you know, you're not kind of going down a wrong path, or you're on more footing. And then we want to make sure that there is some viability of employment, so that there's a reason for us to do this, that there is some value to it. So we need to just make sure that okay, no, it's worth doing this. It's worth spending time doing this. Because you see, you could just do things for no reason, but after a while you get tired of it. And it's nice to see things come to completion and to get a sense of accomplishment. So we need to do that. And then what we could do is the first thing you want to do is you're still in the planning stage. So all we've done now is we've looked at the kind of jobs that are available. We've looked at the kind of routes into those jobs, and we've looked at the viability, the kind of financial structures, or how we could, how viable it is to get this job, get this money, and make some part of a portfolio career out of it. So the next thing is we have to design the plan. Like, what is it that we're going to actually do? And we need to know what we want. So the first part should be identifying a goal. The second part is what we're going to try and do is we're going to look up at the people that have the job that you would like or are in that role. And then we're going to see the kind of skills they have. And then you need to match up your own skills. By doing that, then you can see, well, this person has X, Y, and Z, and they have the job that I want. Now I have X and Y, but I'm not very good on Z. So that may be, you have an indicator like, well, okay, maybe I should look at some way to tackle Z to increase my professionalism, okay? So you do that by analysis of their skills and your skills. And then the next thing is you look at some short-term goals, long-term goals, medium-term goals. For my personal purposes, I just had really one goal. I just use these as project-based things now. It's not the first one I've done. And then we need to identify the experience. We need to come up with a plan that we're going to do. And there's a way of coming up. It's called a SMART goal. And it stands for specific, measurable, I think it's achievable, I think it's realistic and timely. So it's kind of like it's goal, but it's a special type of goal. Okay. And then what we want to do is afterwards we need to carry out the plan and we need to do some review. Now don't worry guys, I know it's sounding boring, but I am going to show you how I put it into my own personal use. Okay. So then what we did is I evaluated my own continuing professional development. So after we've done it, so we research, then we make a plan, then we carry out the action plan, and then afterwards we have to evaluate. And the evaluation is kind of important because afterwards, like, you're not going to succeed. It's never going to be perfect. So what can be improved and what can you try next? And this is all going to be based on feedback, because if it's just you looking at the problem, you're only going to see the problems you can see. Whereas if you send it out for feedback and you get other people's opinions, then you have more. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to maybe kind of explain how I did this for my own personal use in a project that I was recently having. So I thought to myself, well, I wouldn't mind trying to teach online a little bit, maybe educate some people. And I thought, well, I'll just look into it. So I started looking into the role of the types of people that were educating, the types of subjects, how much, and how well knowledgeable they are in the subject, how they present, and various things like that. I looked into the payment schemes, like on, for producing tutorial packages and looking at the payment structures for YouTube and just kind of getting a general feel for it. For now, it's more about, for this part of it, it was more about the production and how, if I could do it at all. And then demonstrate the viability. Well, I did look into the pay scales and all that. And then to design a professional strategy. So this is what I did. I decided that, okay, that's what I want to achieve. I want to become, want to kind of see if I can do some online education. I've looked at the ground floor. It is viable. We could do it. I looked at the barriers of entry. I looked at the skill sets and I thought, what'll I do? So I said, what I want to do is I want to really figure out how to do it in a way that I can do it. So to work on my strengths and to identify areas that I need support in or I need to work on more, and to try and come up with a more formal structured strategy in my mind. And so what I said I'd do is I would produce 12 short videos just for myself, not to post online. And then after every 3 or 4, I would share them with family and friends and ask for feedback. So that was the plan. And then I would modify the videos based on the feedback. And then after 12 weeks, after 6 weeks, I would have 12 videos and I would have a structured format that was based on analysis of the process of creating those 12 videos. So the videos themselves weren't the output, just to develop the process was. Okay. So then what I did was I went off and I did it. I made the 12 videos, and after every 4, I shared them with friends and I analyzed myself. So maybe, well, this is a very good video, but it takes a long time to make. This is a very easy video to make, but the quality is not very well. Not very good. And you kind of slowly but surely, this is acceptable, this isn't acceptable. And I have a wide range of techniques, and we're not off the ground yet, but I am just starting. So in that regard, what I can tell you is that afterwards I did review. After I got my 12, I asked my friends and I asked my family to have a look again. Maybe they could pick their best. I reviewed what I could do and I came up with a more strategy. I bought some more equipment and invested in some software and invested in a little bit of hardware. And we're still starting. This is only starting. But I did put up a video during the week, and based on some of the research that I'd done, and it was very short, it was easy to produce, it wasn't particularly high quality, it asked a question, and it got over 1,000 views in 2 days. So that should be at least some evidence that this way of thinking does help, especially with if you're working on projects, you want to improve, and you don't like working without a goal, this way can be really helpful to learn a project. Okay, so that's what we do. We reflect and identify the learning needs, what it is. Then we plan and prioritize. We start to do some research. We start to find out the viability of it, who's doing it, what are they doing, how do we do what they're doing, any planning, how do I get into this? And then once we come up with that, we come up with a plan based on, well, I need to know this because these people know to know this and I don't, so I need to know this. So you come up with a plan to identify what you need based on research. Then you carry it out, and as you're carrying it out, you're kind of taking notes and you do little stops for feedback, because maybe you need to modify the plan. Maybe it's too easy, maybe it's too hard, but in my case, it was just, that was actually the point of it. I needed to modify the videos as I was going along. And then lastly is the evaluation, the overall evaluation. And so I was able to make, after the 6 weeks and the 12 videos and the feedback I got from various people, I was able to put up one video, a few videos, and see what happened. And they're very good. Now I do have evidence, all these videos, that you could see them. But what I just wanted to show you is that I have this professional skills checklist, and I will make it available. That this itself is very simple, the continuous professional development. And my advice to creative people and musicians out there, I appreciate that this type of language can seem very businesslike and very alien to a kind of a creative, passionate person. But that it is highly useful, and that it's kind of nice because they're project based. Continuous professional development should only really last 6 or 8 weeks, so it's kind of project, or at least how I've been using it, so it's project based. And it is quite nice to get to something, after 6 weeks, have I improved? And then you test reality, like the little video that I put out, and within 2 days I got over 1,000 views. So you're like, yes, I think I've improved. There's been some improvement, and there's some feedback from reality now that I can move forward and try the next 6 week development. What's the next thing that I can improve? And it's like little chunks of 6 weeks. And the nice thing about it, doing it in 6 weeks, is that it's 12 videos, so you could do it 2 a week, but like some weeks are busier than other weeks. And some days I might have 2 days off and I could just get stuck in and do a few. And so it allowed me, 6 weeks was a good, comfortable period of time for me to do it in. And after 6 weeks, I had a definite, I knew whether I had moved myself along professionally or not. Okay, my friends, so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to encourage you to use these processes, and I will make this document available for you that you might find it useful in your own endeavors. Okay, my friends, if you find it of any use, like, thumbs up, subscribe, say all that kind of, and if you have some questions, you can ask down in the comments. I might have answers, I might not have answers, I don't know. Maybe somebody else might have answers. Okay, my friends, now is love. Bye now. Okay.